Hello, and how are you? So this beautiful map shows the regions of Southeast Asia where Malay is spoken, as well as the languages and dialects that are related to Malay, like Minangkabau and Banjar, and other varieties spoken in Indonesia. So we have some very interesting comparisons today. We want to look at one language that is spoken in southern Taiwan, specifically, if I'll show you the map over here, the area in red where Paiwan is spoken. And so let's take a look at this region because it's going to be very, very interesting. We're going to compare some very common words between these two languages and we'll see how similar or how different they are. And then we'll compare them with other Austronesian languages spoken in Southeast Asia, such as Tagalog and various Philippine languages. So let's take a look. Okay, so we've got a couple of words here. Okay, now you've got the word itchy, which I want to compare because this is very common in Malay languages. The word itchy in Malay, or rather in Paiwan, is gatal. Gatal. And this you compare with Malay gatal. So you can see the relationship there. Now, if your cat is itchy, okay, a Paiwan speaker will say the cat is gatal. In Indonesian or Malaysian, would probably say gatal. And other languages as well. But also the word for shrimp is very interesting. The word for prawns, in Paiwan, it's kozang. Meanwhile, in Malay, it is, of course, udang. And if we look at these two words, let's figure out what this sentence means now that we know them, right? Let's have a look. So, gatal, akinatsavatava ni maju no kemanti maju tua kozang. So I'll say it again. Gatal, akinatsavatava ni maju no kemanti maju tua kozang. And if you want to translate that into English, it's something like her body, the cat, well, his or her body gets itchy if he or she eats shrimp or prawns. So we already know that gatal means itchy and kozang means prawn or shrimp. Now, bear in mind, of course, that the meanings can be slightly different in different languages. Malay, udang. In other languages, it can mean prawn, shrimp, lobster, crayfish, so it depends on the language. And so let us take a look at the breakdown. So, if we were to break down the meanings of the words, we have, of course, the main word we want to look at is kinatsavatavan, which means body. Now, this word, of course, comes from the word cao cao, which means person. And so you can see the word tao in Tagalog, katawan, which means body in Tagalog, katauhan, which is personality, and they all come from tao, which is person. In Samoro, I think the word is tao tao. So that also is related to the word cao cao in Paiwan. Now, so the first part means her body gets itchy. The yellow part means itchy, okay, or to become itchy. The blue part means the body, and the nimaju means his or her. If you look at the second half of the word, nu is if or when. Keman is the verb that means to eat. Alright, so the word means when she eats shrimp or prawns. Timaju is he or she, and kuzang we already talked about is prawn or shrimp. The other things, the a and the tua are actually particles to tell them the relationship between the verb and the noun. So, for example, the word nang, ang in Tagalog, for example, they are very, very similar. The functions are quite similar to these. So we'll talk about these later on. Now, if we look at the word to eat, which is keman, this is a very interesting feature of Taiwan. Just like a lot of languages in the Philippines and some parts of Indonesia, there is the focus system. So the form here is active focus. So it means that we are talking about the person who is doing the action. So the is actually the infix, and the root of the word is kan. So keman and kan. And this kan, meaning to eat, is of course found in almost all other Austronesian languages, the same thing. So the makan, the kan in makan is the same word. Kain in Tagalog, kaun in Visayan languages, minan in Malagasy, and kai in Polynesian languages. In Hawaii, it becomes ai, but that's the same word all around. Now, the other word that we have is that you might find interesting is gatal, which means itchy in Paiwan. And this again is also found in quite a lot of places, though not as far as Polynesia, as far as I know. In Malay has the word gatal, of course, but then of course in Tagalog you have kati, and you have words like gatel in Ilocano, and I think Kapampangan people say gatal as well. So, and gatay in Achinese. So similar, we see that this word has spread across a very large area, and I think it even goes all the way to Malagasy, although I can't remember the word exactly, but let me know. Now the question is, in many of these languages, okay, for example, in Malay, I know this happens, and also in many Philippine languages, the word gatal, or the relatives of this word, can also refer to sexual desire or lust. So in Malay, you can describe a dirty old man as, he's very gatal. Do you do this as well in your languages? Okay, I do have a word that means itchy, but it also means something like naughty, person who has very lusty, who has sexual desire. Let me know in the comments. All right, so until then, well, I'll be back. Okay, so just before I end this very short video, I have left the sources for the Paiwan sentences in the description below. There's a very interesting blog called Paiwan Every Day, by this awesome researcher named Yada Parlemak, who lives in Taiwan and is a native Paiwan speaker, or a person who has Paiwan as her ancestral language. And she writes a lot about words and phrases and in Paiwan, and as well as grammatical analyses. And you take a look and compare them with your languages and let me know, what do you think? All right, so that's it for now, and I'll be back very soon. Bye.